First, I just want to show this. If you already have yours attached, which do not attach it. If you have, that's okay. What I want to show is how to take these apart if you haven't seen this already. You don't want to just grab them and pull apart because that could cause some damage if pin gets stuck, whatnot. You want to slowly and gently pry these two apart. The way I like to do it is just by using some leverage with my fingers. You can kind of get the idea here. If I put my fingers kind of like this and grip, then I can push the tips of my fingers together and kind of wedge in between. I'll do both ends at the same time, and then I can lift it a little. And I can do the same thing back here. Just kind of slowly use a little bit of force to rock it out. But you want to have really good control so that it doesn't, just jerk out uncontrolled. All right. So now you would have your two boards apart like that, and we can go ahead and program it and check this for any faults before we attach. What I want to do now is just double check all of our soldering that we did down here. Take a really good close look, and if you do find any problems, they need to be fixed before we connect power up to this board. Definitely look between all of the pins through here and make sure that there's no solder bridges between any two pins. Okay, so you look through all of them and you can see how each one has its own little solder kiss or TP, in appearance. Then compare what you have on the bottom side of the board back with this document right here. And you want to just look really close, just to make sure that the solder is only going through the indicated paths that we have. If you see anything that's connected that shouldn't be, remove it with your soldering iron. Like bridges are primarily what your focus is going to be. So, say there was solder between here, you can see blue here, so obviously they're not connected. But if there was, you could take your soldering iron tip, make sure it's clean and wiped off, and just kind of zoom it through there fast, and hopefully you'd break the bridge and you just see the blue again. So if you see anything that doesn't match up with what you see here, verify, fix, and then proceed. We're going to get to the programming part of things now. So we're going to need our Arduino board, and we're going to need the cable that was supplied. Don't use a different one. The one that was supplied with the kits, we know for sure it's a data cable. Some of the cords that we use for charging or charge only, they don't have the data wires in there. The one that came with the kit does. So make sure that you're using that one. Plug it in, and then plug the other end into your Chromebook. Then we'll open up the Arduino app using the link in Canvas, or you can go directly to it using this URL up here. We'll want to click on code, and then we'll click right on the item below it. I don't know what yours might say, but it should bring up a drop down in which you can select Project Manager. Okay, you'll have a screen that looks similar to this, and we're going to add ourselves a new project. So we'll click on Create New Project, and we're going to give this project a name. I'm going to call it Remote Jammer /TV be gone. And if you want, you can add some description to this. I'm going to leave that blank for now. Okay. All right, so there we have the file that we're now currently going to work with, which is the Remote Jammer /TV be gone, and it says current right here. If it doesn't say current, click on it. Okay. Then we're going to go back over here to code, and whatever is in here in this field right now, we're going to just select all. Control A, we'll select all, delete it. I have nothing left. And what we're going to do now is we're going to paste something in here. And I linked 3 files in Canvas. We're going to open this first one, Remote Jammer /TV be gone. And all we want to do is copy everything from this document. So you can Control A to select everything, Control C to copy everything, or of course, you could do it the old-fashioned way, edit, select all, edit, copy. That would work too. And then we're going to go back into our Arduino app, and we're going to Control V as in Victor to paste. Okay. And you should now have that pasted in there. If it didn't paste, or if you don't see anything after you did that, make sure that I just undid there. Make sure that you click in this area right in here so that you can see the cursor flashing like this. Then when you do Control V, it should paste in there. If it still doesn't work, go back, make sure that you actually copied it from the document, and then come back here and try those things again. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a file by clicking on this little plus symbol with the page here. This is going to actually allow us to add a file, which we're going to make. We're going to give it the name IR, capital I, capital R, with an underscore, CODES, all in capital letters. So it should say IR underscore codes. And for type, you need to select H. So it'll say IR codes type.h, and then click on Add File. You will now go to the Google Doc that I had linked in Canvas, which you should probably already have open. This is the IR codes.h file. I want you to copy everything in here. Like I showed you previously, everything. Control A, copies, or selects all. Control C, copies. And then I want you to go back into your Arduino app. You should have IR codes selected over here, and then click in this area, and then Control V will paste. Okay, then we're going to do one more. We're going to click up here on the plus to add a file again. We're going to name it main, all in lowercase, and it should say main.h. And then you'll click on Add File. Okay, and then once again, you should have this Google Doc of main.h open. We're going to simply copy everything by select all, Control A, Control C to copy. We're going to come right back into our Arduino app, making sure that our main.h is highlighted here and it's blank in here. Now we'll paste. Control V will paste. So I have listed off to the left a remote jammer TVB gone file, an IR codes.h file, and a main.h file, exactly as you see it here. All right, let's get to the programming part of things now. If you don't already have yours plugged in, you can go ahead and make sure that it is plugged into the computer with the provided USB cord. And then we're going to go down here to where it says server, and we're going to click on server, and we're going to select the one with the lowest ping. Mine is the East Coast. Then I'm going to click on the board, and I want to select, if it's not already, select Arduino Uno. And then for serial, when you click that, a box shows up. Now, I didn't plug mine in when I was supposed to, so let me do that now and see what happens. Okay, it showed up. So you should see something similar to this. Click on it, and then click Connect. And before we program, every time you'll want to make sure that you go to serial and then select the board and then click Connect. I have found that sometimes if I don't do that, even though it says it worked, it didn't. Put my computer in split screen mode so you can see what happens when I click on this button right here, the compile and upload button. I'm going to shut off my light here so you can really see the Arduino. Your light might be flashing right now, or it might not, depending on what's already programmed in here. But here's what we're going to notice. When I press compile and upload, it'll first compile, and then it will upload. And when it says upload, you should notice some LED activity going on over here, and it should last for a while. So let's see what happens here. I'll click on compile and upload. Here it's compiling, and now it's uploading. Notice you saw the lights change, and right now it is currently uploading. You'll kind of be able to tell when it's done here. Okay, and it says done, and I did notice a little change in the light patterns. So now what we'll go ahead and do is disconnect the power, and then we're going to fit our shield onto the top of this. For fitting this, we just want to make sure that we get the right set of pins in the right side. So make sure that you have the correct number of pins like I'm showing right here. We know that those then will go there and these will go over here. And what I like to do is just like I just did, I just kind of get all of these pins right above the holes where they're supposed to be. So now those are all kind of started. So you can kind of see, oops, you can see I have them started in the hole. Okay. And then I come over, and while I'm kind of pushing down on the ones that I just put in, I just make sure I can get these lined up all through here. And once I can see that these are all lined up and in the holes, and these are lined up in the holes, then I'll start gently trying to push those down in. Just work one side at a time in case it's a little difficult. Push directly on top of these black headers and just kind of gently and controllably squeeze them. Now it's not going to push down all the way. Okay, that's about as far as I can get it. But you'll see it's about parallel, this board is to this board, and that's what you want. Okay, once you have that in, if you want, you can find this little barrel jack to 9-volt connector. This is in the plastic Arduino kit that you guys have. That's the one that we took the Arduino out of. And what we can do is plug the barrel jack in here. And then don't rush here, but you want to kind of keep an eye on the inside. You should see, as soon as I connect power up to this, you should see a green light or a red light or something like that. You should see a light up on the inside, and it should stay on, because that indicates that the board has power. If you don't see that, then disconnect the battery right away. So I don't even fully connect the battery. I just simply line it up and then just touch it and hold it there while I check inside. And I'll dim the light so you can see what happens here. So there, I just connected power and I disconnected it. If I connect power, I see that light's lit up. That's a good sign. And so I'm going to then just clip mine on. Now, if you don't see any lights when you connect the battery, or when you plug it into the USB, you need to unplug it right away. Okay, and then you'll need to take your board off, and you'll need to look really close for where there might be a solder bridge or something wrong. Okay, but you can't keep it connected. So you don't need to use this for testing it. You could use the USB cable, but same thing applies. Once you connect the USB cable to power this thing, make sure that you see the lights light up. If you don't, just disconnect it right away and then check your board over. All right, so assuming that you then connected the power, the lights came on inside indicating that you had power, then you can actually check to see whether or not these are lighting. Now, because I have an infrared camera here, you can see that all 4 of them are in fact blinking. And what mode this is currently in then is the TV be gone mode. If I press the reset button on the corner of the Arduino board down here, I'll start the whole thing over. So I'm pressing it down. If I let go, you'll see now it's going to start. So it's currently going through all of the codes that it has in its arsenal. When it's done, the LEDs are just going to stop. You won't see them flash anymore. If you wanted to start the whole process over again, you would need to press the reset button. Okay, so at some point here in the future, within a minute or so, they would stop blinking. Now, it's possible that it's not doing this. It's possible that you have the switch in the TV or jamming mode. Okay, so if that's the case, these are just going to be solidly lit. Well, let me show you what happens. If I switch the mode on the switch, first off on the switch, try to kind of press it near the base, the metal base, rather than right up at the tip, because that'll extend the life of the switch, because this is kind of a long switch and it puts a little bit of excess pressure on it, pushing it up here. So I just like to make my things last. I'm going to flip that switch and then I'm going to press the reset button. Okay, so it was in the TV be gone mode. Now it's in the jammer mode, but just to make sure that it's going to see that I flipped the switch, you want to press reset. So I flip the switch, press reset. Now if I look, I can see that they're solidly on. This is actually the jammer mode. Now remember, they're not actually on. They're flashing on and off 38,000 times a second. And if you aim this correctly at TV or something, it works really well, and I tried it on my TVs around here. Now watch again. I'm going to flip this to jammer mode, or I'm sorry, TV Be Gone mode. I'll flip it, press the reset, and now look. You can see now it's in the TV Be Gone mode. And again, if I wanted to flip it back to the other mode, the jam mode, flip the switch, press reset, and now you can see it's in jammer mode again. All right, if you want to try this out then on a TV or something like that, you'll have it powered up. I'm going to put mine in remote jammer mode. So assuming that you got to the point where they all lit up, go try it. And so you'll need it powered with the battery, or a power brick. If you have the USB power brick thing, you could use that too with the USB cable. So mine are on right now. What the strategy is for you to just take this, and you can see how just moving it around, you can see slightly different intensities. So you'd like to aim these as best you can at where you think the infrared is on the TV, the sensor is, which is a lot of times on the bottom of the television set. And so you'll aim it for that. And what I also like to do is just use a button on the remote control, like the change channel or the volume button, and just without pointing it at the TV, I'd like to see that the regular remote changes the channel or the volume or whatever button you're doing, and just keep holding it. So like the channel works good because you can hold the channel button down, it'll keep going through it. And then I slowly, as I'm watching the channels change, I'll point this at it. And if I see the channel stop, well, then I know that it was effective. And so you can test it out kind of that way. As far as testing the TV Be Gone mode, what you'll want to do with that is point it at the TV and then make sure that you're in the TV Be Gone mode. So you can switch it to that mode, press the reset, and then aim it at the TV. And while you're keeping it aimed, just let it sit there and go through all of the codes. And at some point, hopefully you'll see the TV turn off. Okay? And it does take, I think, about 60 seconds or so to go through all of the codes. Usually what it comes down to is just getting the aiming figured out. So again, using like the channel up button and holding it down while you're trying to point this. Again, while it's in the jammer mode. Just play with it. And last thing, you can even slightly adjust these. So like right now, you can see how they're all kind of bright. Well, if one was slightly misaligned, you can notice that, and you can try to bring them all into alignment so that they fade in and out together here. Okay. Hey, as long as I'm doing this, notice something? Yeah, it's like viewing angle. You can kind of notice which ones have the narrower and wider viewing angle.